Good morning, everyone. I'm going to call July 21st, 2026, McLeod County Board of Commissioners meeting to order. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, good morning, everyone. Consideration of agenda items.
Mr. Chair, I have an addition.
Go ahead.
I'm going to request to add item 7D, which will not require a vote, but to update on environmental services elevator project. And Joe Morgan will give us an update from facilities.
Did you say 7D? Or
7D.
E.
I apologize. Thank you. So it'd be the last item on the
Very
agenda.
good. I entertain a motion with the addition to the agenda items. Motion made by Commissioner Dahl, excuse me, it's one of them mornings. And is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Wright. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Consent agenda.
No changes, Mr. Chair.
Motion made by Commissioner Wright. Is there a second? Seconded by Commissioner Chaska. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Environmental Services. Mark, good morning.
Morning, everyone. I have one item for your consideration this morning, and that is a conditional use permit, JP 2614, as requested by Theodore and Kelly Kallstrom for a shoreline alteration. They would like to remove vegetation, clear trees, grade and fill more than 50 cubic yards of material for a private watercraft landing, and this work has already been done, so this isn't after the fact. The address is 19928 Sioux Hills Road, Hutchinson, Minnesota. The parcel was replatted in September of 2013. The applicants, as stated, have installed a private watercraft landing on the north side of this property, and they did that due to some bad information that they received from neighboring property owners. So with that being said, this lot has a natural swale drainage area between the lot to the north. The applicant provided a screening plan intending to improve the current situation. Rob Cole, who is the Acoma Township Board representative to the Hutchinson Area Joint Planning Board, stated that Acoma Township does approve of this request as they feel it will be an improvement. The Hutchinson Area Joint Planning Board approved this request on Wednesday, July 15th with the following conditions. Number one, accept the screening plan, prairie restoration and trees as provided by the applicant. It was submitted with the packet. Number two, remove 2 inches of the Bitcon and replace with suitable topsoil to support vegetative growth, and that is over the private watercraft landing area. And then number three, the restoration project shall be completed by November 15th, 2026. The screening plan, restoration plan, was put together by the applicant, and Kelly Guest, as she is here, and our soil and water office. So looking at the plan myself, I do feel it is a very good plan. There's a couple trees out there that are dying that I believe will need to be removed. They're ash trees, so with the emerald ash borer, the plan calls for native mix of prairie grass. They have a lot of buckthorn on the property, which I believe will help clean that up because it's an invasive species, and it would be a net plus 7 trees out there added to this property when completed. So the applicants have agreed to the conditions that are stated from joint planning, so I do support this request.
Wishes of the board. I mean, I've heard about this for a number of years, actually, different things that are going on out there. So is the DNR involved? Have they signed off to this?
They are. So the DNR, they handle everything below the ordinary water level, the OHW, and they are not supporting the landing area below the OHW, and they are making, they have made comments and they are requiring some restoration work. This request is strictly everything that's landward above the OHW, so that is the county's authority. We do have to administer Minnesota Rule 6120, which is the shoreline management standards, which talks about screening and vegetative cover, that type of thing, to minimize any impact, erosions back to the basin. And this plan does
That sounds
definitely
good. We
do
have
it.
nothing to do with the water level then.
We do not have anything below the OHW.
Mr.
Good or
Chair?
bad? Go ahead.
Sorry. I'm going through a similar process of removing ash trees, and you do know that you're not supposed to remove them before October 1st, because that's the prime flying season before that. So, just. You're welcome.
Mr. Chair.
Go ahead, Commissioner Wright.
Yeah, there was quite a bit of discussion at the joint planning board on this, but the restoration plan is in place and it meets all the requirements. So there was a little bit of last minute information from the DNR that seems to, still work within the plan, and it is, a project that needs to take place. So I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion made by Commissioner Wright to approve. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Commissioner Chotzka. Discussion?
Just,
Mr. Dahl?
just for clarity, I just want to make sure, Mark, that we're following. So there is a permit for that driveway? I'll call it a driveway. Is there a permit from the township for that access down to that lake? Because that would be a separate thing, not us.
So they applied for that access permit, but I have no knowledge of whether the township granted the authority for that to connect to that road.
Okay, and then we would take, once there is a road, then we would take that next piece down to the water level, and that's this conditional use permit.
So in essence, this request is going to remove what you see as the road, as the public access or the private access.
Yeah.
So in theory, I'm not sure if there would be a connectivity to the road once the restoration is complete.
Okay.
It would be vegetative cover, it would have infiltration, so water could absorb into that area without shedding directly to the basin. So after this project is done, if you went out there, I don't believe you would know that there is a hard surface for them to potentially access the lake.
Okay. And then, obviously, once it hits the water line, that's the DNR, so there's possibly three different pieces to this puzzle.
That is correct.
So, having been on the Coma Township, this definitely needs to be cleaned up, so no further comments on that.
And the reason I'm asking questions or like to hear this, because I just want to make sure there's no fallback to our permitting process here, that's clean. I know there's some other issues there. And when it comes to the ash trees, they changed that, and there could very well be, because of the ash board, that there's conditions on getting rid of ash trees, and I think that's localized to some extent, but and as long as we're not responsible for DNR water levels, because that's been an issue out there for a number of years.
So to comment on that, Mr. Chair, the Minnesota Rule 6120 is our Section 13 of the McLeod County zoning ordinance, Section 9 of the Hutch Joint Planning Ordinance. And there are exemptions in there to dead and diseased dying trees that can be removed upon consultation of our office.
Right.
So we work with landowners on that. We haven't really been through, Dutch elm was probably the last one that we experienced in this area, to the extent where we're seeing a lot of these ash trees that are dying now and they need to be removed. From the DNR's perspective in the rule, it's all about trying to stabilize that lake shore so that we don't create any potential erosion issues.
Right.
The landowners have been very receptive to this. I have zero negative comments in regards to their willingness to work with us, and I'm appreciative of their willingness to accept this plan and move forward, because I definitely do believe it'll be an improvement.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Thank you.
Public Works, John.
Good morning.
John.
Consider approving the agreement between McLeod County and the Upper Midwest AC Club for continued use of the building located at the fairgrounds until July 31st, 2027. As discussed at the July 7th, 2026 workshop, the agreement ends on July 31st, 2026. Staff and members of the club have met, discussed the terms of the agreement extension that's included in the packet.
Just to be clear, in case anybody doesn't know, AC is Alice Chalmers Club.
Mr. Chair?
Go ahead.
Perhaps for the benefit of those that might be watching the video of the meeting at some point, Many years ago, an agreement was struck between the Allis-Chalmers Club and the county to allow them to build a 50 by 100-foot building in the northwest corner of the fairgrounds, so they had a place to store tractors and equipment that'd be used during the Orange Spectacular show. That was a 12-year agreement, and we're now to the end of that. And at the end of that 12 years, the use of the building would then be transferred over to the county or for fairgrounds benefits from that point going forward. At this point, the Fair Commission, the county, is not sure what our plans are for that building, and they are still looking for space, and so it seemed like the best option is to extend that agreement for 1 year while we continue to figure out how to repurpose that building, as well as those individuals storing their orange painted tractors and equipment in there, look for options to put them somewhere else at this point. So there's a lot of value in this agreement. I think it's the best for both worlds involved, and I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion made by Commissioner Wright to approve. Is there a second? I'll second it. Discussion? Commissioner Dahl?
Yeah, I just want to be very clear about this. So back in the day, when that building was built, there was an estimate of what the value of that was. So you've got a building that was put up and used for a certain amount of time, I'll say it that way, on the fairground property. So the building is owned or being used by somebody, but on somebody else's land. So when this ends, and I understand the extension part of it, I'll voice my opinion that I'm not happy about the dollar amount of the rent, because originally, as you go through time, there was a certain dollar amount that was placed on that every year, and now we have lowered that. So I'll go along with the 1 year, but I don't think I would go along with anything longer than that.
Fair enough.
Any other discussion? I just, technically, in my mind, it's a growing pain. It's not bad. I mean, we can look at it however we want to. I think both the fairgrounds and, we're growing, and need to do some work there, and it's just, I'm gonna try to stay positive as well. I mean, it's a year, we got close on time anyway. It wouldn't be convenient to do anything anymore this year, or ended up that way, so I'll be approving the motion. Any other discussion? Call the question, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries.
And then I did just want to mention that this last Saturday, we had an event out at Stalls Lake Park in cooperation with the Veteran Services Office, where we had the president of the Minnesota Mycological Society come out and teach. We kind of did a little education session and then went out in the woods and looked for mushrooms. And we had about eight veterans come out, and the event was scheduled for a couple hours, and it ended up going a little over 3 hours because everybody is having so much fun and asking questions. And we actually found a big basket full of mushrooms, and about 75% of them were edible, so everybody got to take some home and try them out. But we hope to do at least an annual event like this where we get veterans out in the park. Hopefully we can do it more often, but it was a good first event. I would say a smaller one, but good to just kind of test it out and see how it works. But everybody really enjoyed it.
Appreciate the update, John.
Yep, thank you.
Employee Relations, Hannah. Good morning, Hannah.
Good to see you. I have a couple of items this morning. Item A is consider approving the 2026-27 Minnesota Public Employees Association, or MNPEA, General Collective Bargaining Agreement. This is, we're getting really close to the end of seeing these at board meetings, for now.
Wishes of the board. Commissioner Smalls is not here this morning, so I'll make the motion to approve.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Wright. Any discussion? Commissioner Dahl?
Mr. Chairman, I can only assume that there was one of the commissioners that sat down and with this and looked at it. So if that, with that, you're nodding your head in approval that, yes, that happened.
Yeah, so we have, on our negotiations committee, we have 2 board members who are on the committee, and that is Commissioner Schmalz and Commissioner Kruger right now, who are sitting in on those processes. So we started this 26-27 negotiations process last spring, and just getting to the kind of last deadline items, but we have 8 of our 9 have been approved, and we're just kind of getting those last details into contracts and here to the board.
So thanks for that update.
Yeah.
Any other discussion or questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries.
Thank you. Item B, so this is at the bottom of this item, but just as a reminder, we're going to be talking about some personnel policy updates. These are some small changes. We did discuss these as a full board at the workshop on March 17, 2026, just bringing these back for final approval. Consider approving the updated McLeod County personnel policy. Sections that were affected by the proposed changes include a slight change in pay history, which is on page 11, rest periods on page 25, termination entitlements on page 48, termination of employment updates on page 63, and insurance benefits on page 50. In the board work, or in the packet, I did have just a simple 2-page, just went through each of those small items. We do have a personnel policy review committee that just went in front of as well, which Commissioner Chachka and Commissioner Wright are on. And we will see slight updates to policies annually, and of course, we'll bring those to the board if there's something that has to happen in more of a timely manner too.
Any comments from Commissioner Wright or Chutska? Being you're on there, I mean, some of these things get molded through our vision of changes, and some get moved through negotiations, so.
And I'll just mention too, sorry, chairs, also some of this is statute requirements too. Some of this as noted in the follow-up or the packet information.
Mr. Chair, just, yeah, and if you go through the details, I mean, like as Hannah had mentioned, some of them are statute related, some of them are clarification, and some are always gonna require tweaking by rules and regulations set that are above us, so move to approve.
I'll second.
Motion made by Commissioner Wright and seconded by Commissioner Chutska to approve. Is there any discussion?
I'll just make a comment,
Go ahead.
if I may. Yeah, this was a new committee for me, but I kind of enjoyed it, and it's always changing, and it's like, okay, so you brought this to us now, and I'll guarantee in 3 months, you're gonna have something else that's gonna need to be updated. So I appreciate you making sure that you get to it, and it's done in a timely manner for everybody that it's affecting. So thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. County Administration, start with our calendars. Since the last week, since our last meeting, I've had a meeting on the 8th with McLeod County and TCNW in relationship to our CD12 ditch. I feel we are making some headway, so I'm happy of that. On the 9th, Fairgrounds Commission, again, I'm somewhat new to that, so I'll defer to Commissioner Wright in his report. I mean, I'm happy to be there. There's always things to do, and we got one of the best fairs in the state, so it's kind of easy that way, but we have our challenges. I had the drainage work group also on the 9th, and again, I think I have a saying that I don't like getting on merry-go-rounds, and sitting on there is a lot like riding a merry-go-round. I've been around long enough that after you ride one round, you go back over it again, and you look for a different outcome. But I mean, it's kind of a necessary issue. We have a number of good delegates, representatives on the committee, and again, it's an advisory group to the legislature. But when it comes to water, just like some of our earlier conversations, it's a 50-50 battle. So it's always difficult that way. And then I sat in on a AMC lunch, Zoom meeting on the 13th, in relationship to state, or the relationship to rural and city needs for employees, and how it takes shape. Again, a lot of information, but then it takes a lot of work besides talk, so, but it is beneficial to know what's going on. With that, brings us to today. Commissioner Wright?
Okay, thank you. Cover Fair Commission a little bit. Commissioner Kruger brought that up. A lot of it at this point for this summer is just some simple repairs, especially preparing for the McLeod County Fair to take place. There's some small areas of concrete being poured just basically for safety precautions and to clean up a couple corners in case there's some rain that tend to get a little bit muddy. We continue, we had talked earlier in the meeting about the agreement, so we continued with the building on the northwest corner of the property. So we continue discussion on some of our plans for that and how to move forward. Then we get into the Fair Board, met on the 13th, and that was just kind of a final prep meeting. And it's really interesting and great to see how dozens of volunteers can get together to make that 4-day fair such an impactful. And I think Commissioner Kruger said one of the best in the state. I'll go a little further than that and say one of the best in the Midwest, if not beyond, with the McLeod County Fair. All the wheels that constantly have to turn, and they actually start planning for the next fair literally within the day after this next one happens. So it's a very hard-working group of individuals that continue to keep that going. And the demand for people to come in and become vendors, I mean, they filled the that center courtyard, center mall area with food vendors. That's been full for quite some time. And so there's a lot of fairs that fight to find somebody to come in there, and we're actually turning them away. So a lot of attention there for those 4 days. Let me see, would be after that, we were actually able to attend the Hutchinson, my wife and I attend the city council meeting at Hutch to present a donation check in the amount of $6,800 from our Breakfast on the Farm event that went to the fire department to purchase grain bin and farm safety equipment. And that was just a little bit more than what the goal was. And so again, that's kind of a great way to close off our event that we had. Purchase equipment that I hope only needs to be used for practice and not in reality, but at least it's there. So we went from that meeting to an event that the McLeod County Corn and Soybeans held at the fairgrounds, which is a joint effort between all the area fire departments, where Hutch Co-op talked about electrical safety. They brought in a crew that again talked about grain bin safety, and they also talked a lot about a foam that is made from soybeans to help put out fires. And if you're familiar with the foam that has been used historically, it is full of forever chemicals that has been documented as being carcinogenic, and it is actually some pretty nasty stuff to use. If you know the names of Bryce Lindeman or Bob Lindeman, they farm in Penn Township. They are very active on the soybean promotion board all the way from the county to the state. And their history of being firemen helped push the success of this locally to bring the soybean alternative into local fire departments. The soy foam not only has the benefit of using locally grown soybeans, but it is free of the forever chemicals. And where the typical foam that's out there takes several months to begin to break down, this begins its breakdown process within a few weeks, and it's gone. And so hopefully they did have some free product there to give to the local fire departments that were attending the training. And there is actually some household kits that are available of that product that you can get from the company that's making this. And hopefully it makes an impact. Again, it's not only about using more soybeans that's locally impactful, but its ability to help put out a fire without some of those nasty forever chemicals lingering is very substantial as well. And then the joint planning meeting, which is an item that we started out with today. And that's it for me.
Thank you. Commissioner Dahl?
July 7th, I attended the workshop, obviously, and then on July 9th, I was at the Economic Development meeting. Very interesting, and it was an annual report that was given there. I did not send my commissioners my usual report because as soon as I got home, I had the minutes and it had been sent out. So, very impressive. And she really did a good job. It was covered a lot of things. July 15th, was at the McLeod Sibley Insurance Claims Review and reviewed those items. That's the official stuff. On the unofficial stuff, there's things that I look at, you know, and I mentioned this before, you know, that serving in our county or serving others is an important thing to me, but I just jotted down some things that I've noticed this, and this has to do with our employees and what they're doing out there. So somebody that may sing in an event, you know, or chaperone field trips, or does a few extra things at the house so that the husband can go out and coach a baseball team. You know, so there's some things happening that our employees do that really make my heart sing. I like to see that. I'm impressed with it. On July 10th, I was at the Tim Orth. Gwen and I sponsored ice cream truck that came from the Wright Farm and was out there, and that was very encouraging. My wife said that it needed to be a servant event, and we recruited 2 grandchildren to help us, so we learned a lot about our grandchildren serving ice cream at an event that was a fundraiser, so that was a lot of fun. On the 11th, I attended a McLeod County vet 90th birthday party, and that was a real treat for me. And on July 12th, I took a wife down and some supplies down to a Veterans Hospital to visit a friend. And on July 17th, I got to bring one of our McLeod County vets home from the hospital. That's, if you've ever been asked to do that, it's very enlightening. Yeah, it's very good, so. Other than that, I did point out to Paul, and we had a little teaser here. I don't know what's going on down in his district, but I saw some things happen that Jill Young and the Hutchinson Public School both received the Cream of the Crop Award. They're both in our county, and that has to do with farm-to-table food and their state awards. And I thought, we should mention that because that's really, really good practices that are happening in our county. So, you really want to recognize them people for that. So, that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Chesky?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The last meeting after the workshop, I was able to go back to Broughton, get a few things done, get our meeting done there, and attend the town ball, which I believe they had over, I think, 700 people they had talked about. We had a little bit of rain in there, but it turned out to be a great night. The next morning, Nathan and I both attended the CHB workshop, the Meeker McLeod Sibley Community Health Services Board. We're trying to define lines in that group as far as who's responsible, so they want to rewrite the joint powers agreement and the delegate agreement, but they wanted to start from the very beginning, so we had a workshop and we went over what our expectations were and who we thought should make decisions here, there, and it was a great workshop. It was 2.5 hours, and I felt it was very beneficial, and I got an email now asking my thoughts on that workshop, so I will definitely get back to that. On Thursday, the 9th, I was at the Economic Development Committee meeting with Tom. I thought it was really good. Liz went over the 2025 report, which was packed with information, but it was lots of good information as far as what she's been up to, what the committee's been up to, what the county's been up to. And I applaud Liz on the great job she's doing at trying to make connections and the connections that she's made up until this point. As most of you know, on Tuesday, July 14th at 8 a.m., the applications they're starting to accept the applications for the cities and townships. So I'm putting a little plug out there for the townships and the cities to get out and get your application in for either mayor or supervisor or whatever the positions may be. You know, it's always hard to find people to run for positions, so if you know of anybody you think would be great, tell them to go and apply. Along that line, the past 2 weeks, I have done 8 hours of election training for the city of Brownton. And yesterday when I came here, of course, we were the last ones to leave. And I believe Janet Betzinger had said at that point, oh, it was only an 11-hour day today. That's not bad. So I want you guys to know how hard she's got. I think this entire building of people working towards that election, it's not something that just happens out of nowhere. They test and retest and retest. We test, they test our stuff, we test it again. I mean, it's crazy how much goes into this election and how much time they actually put into that. So kudos to Janet and the entire team, because I know it's just not a couple people. There's people in the background that we don't even see when we come in here for that. Then on the 15th, Andrew stopped by and picked me up in Brownton, and we went out to look at the roundabout out there. That's kind of an impressive sight to see, though it's just a bunch of dirt and piles of dirt. But they've got the storm sewers in, and I didn't even know they put storm sewers in the middle of a highway. But it was really nice to go out there. It sounds like they're right around that schedule, give or take a little bit. But we're over halfway done, and there's been no catastrophic things that's gone on. A little bit of rain, but we can't complain about that. So I thank Andrew for bringing me out there. I said I was gonna take my golf cart out, but I didn't think they'd want an old lady on a golf cart driving around the construction site. So he said, I'll bring you. So that brings us to today.
Thank you. Attorney's office?
Thank you. My office did have another felony jury trial last week. We've had several this year. Pleased to announce there was a guilty verdict on several counts, including the felony controlled substance crime, which is obviously one of the most common offenses we're dealing with, as well as a driving while impaired. And then had several meetings and conversations with some of the stakeholders about our first judicial veterans court program. I'll be discussing that a little bit more at the workshop, but looking forward to keeping that rolling. So been talking to several folks about that in preparation for presenting to the board, both at the workshop today and at a future meeting. And then just on the positive note, to follow up that kind of on a community involvement or public service on that Fox 9 Town Ball tour, the Bruins Association was able to donate $18,000 to the local family whose child has leukemia, a 3-year-old boy with leukemia. And that's through just fundraising here locally with local businesses as supporters, individuals that participate in a golf tournament and a silent auction, and others that donate both time and money. And I mean, it's remarkable what an organization can do for a family. And then last night, the Brown Cubs, a softball organization, they also have a fundraiser for raising money for families in need, and this year was a different family with a child with a chronic illness as well. And they do a 5K run and a meal and I think a silent auction, and they were able to present a $10,000 check to that family yesterday. So yeah, it's just some really awesome things going on in the community if you look at it, and not just the crimes that I typically report on. So thank you.
Thank you, Attorney Hench. Administration, Sheila?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll just note that Commissioner Schmalz had a planned absence, so he will be back with us at the next meeting. Item A, notification of an electronic transfer of funds in the amount of $1.2 million from the Core Trust Bank savings account to the Core Trust Bank checking account made on July 8, 2026. Item B, notification of electronic transfer of funds in the amount of $4 million from the Minnesota Association of Governments Investing for Counties account to the Core Trust Bank checking account made on July 13, 2026. Item C, notification of board workshop following the board meeting on Tuesday, August 4, 2026 at the McLeod County Government Center, 520 Chandler Avenue North, Glencoe, Minnesota. Item D, notification of changes to the publication schedule for the official McLeod County newspaper, the McLeod County Chronicle. We received notice from the Chronicle that beginning in July and going forward, it will only publish 2 print issues per month. The print issues will be published on the first and third Friday of each month. They did note that that will meet the needs of our public notice requirements. However, if there is anything that we need to adjust, we will post that as we have in the past on the front doors of a facility that's relevant. And Commissioner Kruger and I spoke about just having a designated area being established when we need to do those things, just in the case that something of concern comes about, but we don't anticipate that.
We'll just go back to highlighting what we used to do many years ago. As I'm very concerned, I've talked to legislators in our center about, we have no county newspaper anymore, that if they go digital, in my opinion, and it's been on the legislators' dockets, but, we should be able to be legal posting it ourselves on our county website. I mean, to me, a website's a website. If you're gonna look on county stuff, well, why not go right straight to the county? But at any rate, right now, it bothers me if we happen to hit a week when there is no printed newspaper. So,
Sorry, but Mr. Chair, I just wanna know, it says new online issues of the Chronicle will still be published weekly, so,
right.
yeah.
But online is not the way the statute is written.
No, it's just, yeah, it's difficult because we have, as you know, by statute, we have to, the board, we make a recommendation and then the board chooses their official newspaper every year. And it's just become increasingly difficult. And so, later this week, I'll be in a meeting trying to determine our legislative priorities for 2027. And like Commissioner Kruger said, that's been on there. I mean, I've been here 9 years and it's been on there every year and it needs to move up.
Well, now it's
because-
come to the point where there's no papers in the county, so we're gonna need to, you're gonna have to do something or allow us to do.
Right.
So me and Sheila did talk, and just make sure our postings are up, just like they used to be, put them on.
And they still are.
Right?
Janet Betzinger's office deals with a lot of that, and so does Mark Teletsky's office. The public notice is real fun, right? But if there is any confusion, if there are any questions, reach out to us so we can bring those questions forth, and if you two would like to comment, that'd be great.
Yeah, thank you. So Jan and I were just talking about this a little bit, and it's something we've taken up with McPisa, our association, which is an affiliate of AMC. And statutorily through 394, notification does not differentiate between print or online publication. So our position, and I've spoken on this before, we have lobbied on behalf of McPisa to allow for us to post on our website as official notice. That statute has not been changed yet, so it would require an amendment. And I would ask for our attorney to chime in and add anything to this. So where we left this with recent discussion was that online publication for online edition of our official newspaper still does count as notice. Because it does not differentiate in statute whether an official control notice for a conditional use permit variance plat has to be print edition. It can still serve as an online edition.
It's noted as published, correct?
That's correct. It's just noted as your official paper. Doesn't say differentiate, and that notice has to be given so many days prior to the hearing.
And Mark, my concern is, and I know I'm splitting hairs, but that's what the government does. And I mean, because we've never been told, or we've been told that a online printing of our notifications on our website does not count. And I beg to differ that, what's the difference?
Because it's not published. We're
Yeah, and
not, official
I'm
published.
certainly not arguing with anybody. I think that what was discussed to try to get some traction with our legislators to get this
Oh, no, it needs to be, I'm just, FYI, it's just not, there's nothing we're gonna decide here today, but the main thing is that we're doing everything in our power to get the notifications out there. That's what I like to hear anyway.
Yeah, and I just wanted to bring it up because our notification requirements, by the time we take an application, we aren't able to meet that first print edition. So we are going to have that into an online version.
And having said that, you send out mail notifications. I mean, there's tons of information out there, but I've had people show up at meetings saying they weren't notified with their envelope and their letter in their hand. So I mean, it's just, you have to pay attention.
Yeah.
So I will meet with Matt Hilgart this week, who is our lobbyist from Association of Minnesota Counties. We have the Minnesota Association of County Administrators. I'm not gonna use acronyms, cause my gosh, but if you see it written, that's what it is. And I'm going to ask that McLeod County's interest is to make sure that that is prioritized this year. It's been on the list every year, but it needs to be taken more seriously. And if it is just saying published and changing statute, so we can meet the requirements, so be it. But we're going to ask for it.
Yes, and we do too as well, especially this time of year. We have to have a qualified newspaper, which we do, currently the Chronicle, in a published edition. It does not say digital, it does not say print only. Our organization has also put this forward, as we have some counties that do not have a newspaper no longer in their county and are having to go to neighboring counties or the Tribune currently to meet those qualifications. We also do post on the front door quite frequently in our office, as well as publish on our website as well, which currently is just above and beyond, but maybe the future.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Again, the main point is that we're doing everything we can to be notifying. I mean, I hear it every now and then that we don't get notifications. We're doing everything humanly possible to get it done, so.
Mr. Chair, I just want to note that on August 10th, for our staff, AMC is holding a virtual meeting for platform and priorities development process. So if you're interested in attending, you should be able to find that on their website. And then, any other questions about that, about the newspaper? I'll move on to the added item E, 7E, and that's an update on our environmental services elevator project with Joe Morgan from facilities.
Good morning. The last time we had spoke, we were talking about a beam. There was a little addition that had to take place there. I'm pleased to say that the opening to the second floor has been cut. The beam was put in place. The block has been set up on the second floor, so all the block work is completed. And Aerolift was out last week, did the on-site measuring. And they've taken that back, and they've now released the elevator to begin being built at the factory. So we're looking most likely late September and into October for shipment of the actual elevator itself. So the storefront, we should see that, I would say, within the next month, get that put back in. During the pre-walkthrough, some flooring was identified, being the condition and the age of it all. And so we'll be able to, within the existing budget here, be able to get that flooring taken care of and completed. And ideally, that'll be the last thing to take place. We obviously don't want to put the new flooring down and then have contractors moving through. So. And one quick one on the fairgrounds. I know you guys were talking about that a little earlier. The electrical, that's scheduled for August 3rd through the 7th. So we'll get the new panels put in and the transformers set in place. So not sure about the lights. They haven't shipped yet. So we don't want to risk not having lights. So, but definitely we'll have the transformers taken care of. And so, any questions?
Did we get started on time on this project, or was there some delays?
Yeah, so initially, we ran into a little trouble just getting the building permit based on some clarifications on the actual elevator part of it. So that took several months. So I would say that no, we were not, we did not start on time. I would say we started about when it was supposed to be completed. And so that was one of the biggest delays. We had like a 3 to 4 week delay probably with the beam itself.
Mr. Chair, I just want to note to Commissioner Dahl's question too, though, that was out of our control.
Correct.
Yeah, so
I'm making sure
making
people
sure,
understand.
there wasn't a delay either from, there was no delay from our construction management company or from our staff, so.
No, yeah, it's really just, trying to provide that information, and in this case, it was information that, like, the elevator company's like, nobody's ever asked us for that before, right? They're putting these in all over the country. But, we were able, they were able to provide it and meet us.
It's not your
and-
fault, Joe,
Yeah.
and I'm not saying that it's in our control, but I was at all the pre-meetings, I was there, and it actually upsets me that we go through all this stuff and they promise you this, that, and another. And I mean, this is more than late, in my opinion, thank God they're not building a building.
Right.
But I mean, it upsets me because we've dotted every I, we did everything we were supposed to do, and it still ends up, in my opinion, the snow, it's the old saying in Minnesota, you start a project and the snow will be flying before you get it done. And that's standing operating procedure anymore, and I don't like it, but.
Mr. Chair, I just want to add too that we are actually pretty fortunate that all of the contractors involved were still able to keep us in their schedule with it not being on time, because that could have changed it. It was a preferred indoor projects. They like to do those in the winter. And so they have really busy
Yeah.
schedules in the summer, and it's been one without a ton of rain. So thank you for communicating with them, because it has continued to flow. So
I appreciate that your glass is always half full.
I wouldn't say that, but we'll go with it. Thanks.
Doug, I think if we put our two glasses together, we might be full.
All right,
Alrighty, thank you.
I have nothing else, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
I haven't either, other than, from some of the board reports today, especially Commissioner Wright, well, all of you, but, Commissioner Wright especially, I did happen to see it online that the check that was, given to, the fire department, that was surprising, and your guys' in Broughton check, surprises me as well, but I think that's a good thing that, even if we have constituents that have ideas, convey them to us, because I think it's good to know what we're doing in the county, so, I do appreciate that. And that's 100% to the people that need it, not 50 or 75. So I appreciate that. Any other business to come before the board for the county's good? Open forum, anybody wishing to address the board? Press relations, anything from the press, questions? With that, the next county board meeting will be at 9 a.m. on Tuesday, August 4th at the McLeod County Government Center, 520 Chandler Avenue North, here in Glencoe. I'll entertain a motion to recess.
So moved.
Motion made by Commissioner Dahl to recess. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Wright. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? We're recessed. Workshop will start here in about 5 minutes.